Okay, so geography, AQA, case study, paper two, challenge of resources or managing resources, sorry. This is an example of a solar mini grid scheme in Melela in Tanzania. Apologies to any of you who live in Melela. Perhaps you might email me and tell me how you pronounce the place. So AQA wants a local renewable energy scheme in an LIC or an NEE to provide sustainable supplies of energy. So here is Tanzania. There's the Tanzanian map again. You may have seen this already for the tourism. You've got a tourism case study, and you've got this one about power. There's the coast. And you can see some well-known places. There's Zanzibar City, the coastal area. Kilimanjaro is up here. Lake Uganda, so Lake Victoria. I'm going mad. And we're talking about a region right central, Melela. So limited things. A few facts. Tanzania, it's an LIC, 9 out of 10 Tanzanians live below $3 per day. Solar plus geothermal plus wind plus biomass is Tanzania's energy mix. Biomass, of course, is collecting fuel wood, wind at a very local scale, geothermal where it can happen, and solar. Energy is lost during transmission of electricity, and therefore having a local power infrastructure is a good idea, i.e. generate the power here, use it here, rather than sending it a long way away. You don't lose all that power. And also trying to have a system which has a very low need for maintenance is quite important. So energy is lost and the power infrastructure is expensive. Therefore, the answer or solution is mini grids, small scale local grids. And in this area of Africa, the one big resource that is available, of course, is solar. And that's where the solar mini grid scheme comes from. And you will be able to do some research and find the same images on the net. There's a solar panel, you know what PV cells look like, photovoltaic cells, PV cells. So it's a solar cell, not a solar heating warm water panel. Problems, therefore, what is it trying to get overcome? People burn kerosene for lighting cooking. Trouble is when you burn kerosene, it gives off hazardous fumes, and that leads to respiratory illnesses. So not healthy for individuals. And of course, many of these people are working subsistently. So they need their own manpower to harvest their food to be able to feed themselves. Cattle dung can be used for fuel, but of course, if you're burning cattle dung, you're not putting the nutrients back into the ground, which is going to bring down the amount of food you grow. And again, if you're a subsistence person or you rely on a bit of subsistence to keep you going, that's not going to be sustaining you for very, very long. Finally, rurally dispersed population, very, very spread out population. So as I said before, national grids don't really work. So you want something that gets to everybody really easily. So in 2013, a company called Devergy was set up to supply electricity, and they do PV cells such as this, and you can see an engineer here. They then distribute the electricity to homes. Locals pay in advance for their consumption, and by doing that, by paying in advance, they're actually giving enough money to the company for it to then go and invest. It makes sense. I mean, it might sound if you pay in advance in this country, you think, hold on, I'm not paying, I've not used my electricity yet. But actually, by a model that says you pay for being connected in advance, it means that they can actually move faster and connect more people. So finally, so the impacts: 200 households get two lamps, a TV, and a phone charger. And of course, once you've got a phone charger, once you've got a TV, lamps, you can extend your working day, and people can start to be able to access the internet and all kinds of things via the phone. And then they can start businesses. So businesses also can stay open longer. Multiplier effect: people can be paid, people can do more trade. Mobiles and TV increase social cohesion. Remember your sheep factors. That social one often gets left out. Social cohesion means that people feel more connected as a group. They can then have a political voice, and then can then start asking for things. They might get a voice that allows them to get infrastructure because the local person wants to be elected. All these things talking in general terms, but social cohesion, very, very powerful. Mentioned it before, mobiles allow business transactions. And once business transactions happen, that means money flows. And when money flows, you can tax it and people take off and people then start using their money. And then you get the reduced kerosene, which means improved quality of life because you're helping people not having respiratory illnesses. And that means people can work more in the farms, increasing farm yields, so you get a food surplus. And as you know, food surpluses are the number one way of reducing infant and child mortality. Remember, infant mortality, deaths in the first year, child mortality deaths in the first 5 years. And obvious point I've made before, very easy to maintain. No moving parts. They may need cleaning and they will ultimately need replacing, but very straightforward to run once they've been put in place. Problems, of course, is that electricity can be expensive, which may mean that some can and some can't afford it. So you do begin to get potentially social discohesion. The aim, of course, is that, or the hope is that gradually the cost will come down and everybody will get access and everybody therefore will start to benefit. And of course, there's no storage of this electricity, so it depends on there being the sun out there. So during the rainy season, it doesn't drop to zero, but your 2 amp lamps and your TV and your phone may not always be available to work. Anyway, that's one way of solving your problems. Big country, rural dispersed population, mini grid system using PV cells. You'll find some more videos potentially on here. Have a look.